I'm author Wes Olszewski. We're back here at Poorly Lit Studios, and I'm filming an extra one of these introductions because when I started doing my videos on whalebacks, I thought I could make the powered whalebacks, the steamers, in just one segment. Wrong. So here's another chapter of part 2 of whalebacks, the steamers. James B. Colgate was also a copy of the Thomas Wilson. Her 308-foot hull slid off the ways on September 21st, 1892. In November of that same year, she broke the speed record for sailing across Lake Erie, which had been set by her sister ship, the Samuel Mather. On October 20th, 1916, she was again going to make history on Lake Erie. That date was when she went to the bottom and took all hands with her, except for her captain, Walter Garshaw. It all occurred in the notorious Black Friday storm. Hull number 123, christened as Pathfinder, was launched on July 16, 1892. At 340 feet long and 42 feet in beam, she was the largest whaleback yet constructed. By whaleback standards, she had a long career as an ore carrier. In 1930, however, she was converted to an automobile carrier. She was scrapped in 1934. The Washburn was launched with a middeck in her cargo hold and side ports in the curve of her deck for package freight loading and unloading. She hit the water on June 25, 1892. In 1896, the middeck was removed, and she was put into service as an ore carrier. In 1928, she was given a flat overdeck and converted into an automobile carrier. She ended her career at the Scrapper's Torch in 1936. She had also sailed under the names James B. Nielsen and J.T. Reed. The 11th whaleback was launched as Pillsbury, a standard 320-foot bulk carrier. Her transformation over time is a lesson in how vessel owners took McDougall's concept for a hull that would move easily in the waves and turned it inside out. The first thing that was done was to change her hatches. Here we see her with raised hatch combings for easier loading and unloading, rather than the smooth deck that McDougall had envisioned. Next, they truncated her deck and boxed it over. They also eliminated her turrets. Finally, they installed cranes. Pillsbury was renamed Henry Court. She wrecked at Muskegon, Michigan, on November 30th, 1934. In 1893, a financial panic hit the economy and also threw McDougall's American Steel Barge Company into a tizzy. An example of this being the fact that the first frames for the steamer John B. Trevor were laid down on October 11, 1893, but she wasn't completed until May 1st, 1895. The yard that once turned out a whaleback in 2 months now took nearly 2 years. The Trevor was the last of the pure whaleback steamer design ever built. Now the push was on for bigger whaleback steamers. On April 25, 1896, the Frank Rockefeller was launched. She was 266 feet long. Over time, she went through more changes than any other whaleback. She went from ore boat to sand and gravel carrier, renamed the South Park, to automobile carrier, to a tanker named the Meteor, and finally to a museum ship in 1972. Today she is in her birthplace at Superior, Wisconsin, and open to the public. She is the last remaining example of McDougall's whaleback concept. Launched on July 11, 1896, the whaleback John Erickson again broke the length record for a McDougall hull. She was 390 feet long. She also had her pilot house up forward in the Victorian lakeboat look of the era. She worked well as a bulk carrier until 1965 and was scrapped in 1967. McDougall's final Whaleback was launched on July 25, 1898. She was named after her inventor, the Alexander McDougall. Oddly, she was the only whaleback not to have the spoon-shaped bow that her namesake had created. Her final service was in hauling iron ore to help win World War II. Post-war, she was laid up and sold for scrap along with the rest of the maritime fleet. In all, this is the history of the whaleback bulk carriers constructed on the Great Lakes.
Have you subscribed yet? If you don't subscribe, the Crescent City gets it. Subscribe now. Don't make me do this.